In this video, we're going to be talking about induced EMF, which is what happens when the magnetic flux is changing through a loop of wire. And this is how we create electricity. This is, other than solar electricity, every other form of energy generation uses this mechanism of creating voltage, creating a potential difference due to the fact that you have a changing flux through a loop of wire. And so we're going to talk about how all of that operates in this video and the mechanism. So both Lenz's law and Faraday's law. All right, so now let's put the flux part together and figure out how do we talk about this induced EMF. So whenever the flux changes, not that there is flux, okay, so just a set amount of magnetic flux through a loop of wire is not going to create it. The flux must be changing, and if it changes, a potential difference is formed around that loop, and charges will move, and you will get current moving through there. Okay, and there's two ways we describe this. We first look at the potential difference that is formed, like the voltage across that loop is given by the rate of change of that flux. And then the second part is the direction of the current is given by Lenz's law. So we're going to talk about these two different laws. One tells you what the actual amount of the voltage is, so you can calculate the magnitude of the current, and Lenz's law tells you the direction that that current is going to flow based on how the flux is changing. Okay, so let's talk about Faraday's law. Faraday's law, to compute the magnitude of the potential difference, you have to know the flux is changing. So you have to find an expression for the flux and then compute the change. So it is you get an expression for the flux here, which is that B times A, and it could be B that's changing or the area that's changing. And don't remember, because flux is how much is passing through, it can also be like the angle at which the loop is changing. So that's actually very common. How most generators work is it rotates it through there, it rotates a coil through a magnetic field, and so then by changing the flux, it induces that voltage. So that's the main idea of what we're going to be doing there. In AP Physics 2, usually only the B or the A is going to be changing. In AP Physics C, E, and M, you guys will have to do the derivative expression in order to go from there. And we'll do Physics C examples for that later on a different separate lesson. Lenz's law, that's the direction of the current. And so here's the part that's the trickiest for most units. The direction of the current is always tough. So first, you have to understand how the flux is changing. So Lenz's law says that the loop will attempt to oppose that change in flux. So what that means is if the flux is increasing, okay, like if the flux going into the loop is increasing, then to oppose it, it's going to induce a magnetic field. Because remember, this current is going to create a magnetic field. That magnetic field, the direction of that magnetic field is based on a way to oppose how the flux is changing. So if the flux is decreasing through a loop, then the magnetic field is going to be the same direction to try to increase the flux. If the flux is increasing, then the magnetic field will point in a way so that the overall flux is going to be less. Okay, and so examples will be easier, but that's the main idea. So if you look at the problem solving steps, this is one where we do want to go through the steps very clearly. First, determine if there is flux changing in the field, in the loop. If the flux is changing, then there's an induced voltage. We find the direction of Lenz's law. So we determine which way an induced magnetic field would be to counteract that changing flux. And then we use our right-hand rule with currents to determine which way the current would have to flow to create that induced magnetic field. Then to find the magnitude of the potential drop, we get an expression for the magnetic flux, and we look at that change there. Or we take the derivative for those of you in AP Physics C. Okay, so that's our problem-solving steps there. So let's look at a few example problems. So if an electromagnetic produces a magnetic field in a uniform certain region, outside the region, the graph represents the field as a function of the current in the electromagnetic magnet. The current is set at 0.5 I1. When a charged particle in the region moves towards the top of the page, the force is FB towards the left as shown above. Okay, what changes to the current in the electromagnet could make the magnetic force equal to twice? Well, here is just kind of like the earlier part. This is the QV cross B, right? And so we have the velocity. It's perpendicular to the force, of course, and it's, let's see, positive field out of the page, negative field into the page. Okay, so it's going in or out of the page. So these are already perpendicular. It's QVB. And so what you can see here is different currents will create different magnetic field strength. So if I want to double this guy, then I just need to double the magnetic field. Now I can't change the particle's velocity, so I can change the magnetic field. To double that requires me to double the current, because you see, like right now we're at 0.5 I and we have a B. If we want to double it, we need to go to full I1. So here we would say the force is equal to QVB. To double the magnetic force, we need to double B, which requires 2 times 0.5 I1, which equals I1, according to the graph. Okay, so that was just a review of a little bit of some of the magnetic force there. Okay, cool. A circuit is made by connecting an ohmic light bulb of resistance R in a circular loop of area A, made up with negligible resistance. The circuit is placed with the plane of the loop perpendicular to the field. The magnetic field changes as a function of time shown in graph 2. So here we have the magnetic field changing, which is going to be a change in the flux, right? Going through that loop because we're changing the magnetic field. The original, let's see, and then this shows the energy dissipated by the bulb. The original bulb is replaced by a new bulb with greater resistance, but everything else stays the same. How would the cumulative energy graph from the new bulb be different, if at all? So let's understand, why is there energy, which direction is the current going, and things like that, okay? So what's happening here is the flux. We have a certain amount of flux coming out of the page, and it's going to be changing now. So initially what's going to happen is the flux is going to decrease, because you're going to decrease the magnetic field, so you're going to have less flux in here. So the induced magnetic field is going to be this way. This will be our induced magnetic field. Why? Because we are reducing the amount of flux coming out of the page, so this is going to be induced by whatever current is flowing. Now, because it's coming out of the page, because you have a loop like this, all right, I want my fingers to curl towards me. All right, so it's coming towards me here. That means my thumb is pointing it from my perspective, not your perspective. My perspective is going counterclockwise here. So the current is then going to go counterclockwise. That's how Lenz's law works. Now, how do we figure out the potential drop? That's going to be the rate of change of the flux, which is the rate of change of the B times A, right? And it's just B times A, no cosine theta, because it's already perpendicular, or they're parallel. It's 100% going through the loop. So we just pull out the area, and it's just the change in the magnetic field per time. So that's the slope, right? That should be the slope of this graph right here, okay? And the slope of this graph is you go over, like if you're here, you're gonna, let me see. Yeah, so anyway, this is the slope here, right? The slope. So the voltage is going to be A times that delta B over delta T. And the power, the energy dissipated, is I times V, right, from our circuit analysis. And because it's ohmic loss, V is equal to IR, so I is equal to V over R. So then this becomes V squared over R. And so this is going to be A delta B over delta T squared divided by R. Now this part's not going to change when we change the resistance of the bulb. Okay, so but if you double the resistance, the power is going to type in half, right? So if I double this and everything else stays the same, then the power is going to be times 1/2. So then our picture is going to be like this, and it's going to have half the energy during that time. Now, why is there no change in energy during these times? It's because there's no change in flux. So then the power would be 0. Okay. New light bulb is removed and replaced by the original light bulb. The magnetic field now changes from negative 2B1 to 2B1 to negative 2B1. How would the new cumulative graph energy created in this situation, how would it be different from graph 3? So now we're talking about leaving this part the same, but now we're going to talk about doubling this. Like the slope is going to double because it's going to look like this here, okay? So you're going to have a steeper slope. You double the slope, and you square it, that's going to be times 4 on the power because it's squared. So it's going to be 4 times the power. So the power is going to go up. It's going to go, instead of 1, it's going to go 4 times as much. So something like this. So it's going to have 4 times the energy. So 4 times the power, and energy. And I'm not going to write out the whole explanation. What I just described to you is that explanation, okay? A student derives the following expression for the cumulative energy Whether or not the equation is correct, does the functional dependence on cumulative energy depend on the elapsed time make sense? So here, if we have less time, does it make sense that it's more energy? Okay, so that does make sense, because if you do that same change in a shorter amount of time, you're going to have a steeper slope. So yes. Well, so if you do it in a shorter amount of time, then you're going to have a greater potential drop. And then your power is going to be, wait, was that for energy or power? So let's kind of reason this out. If I shorten the time but do the same magnetic field drop, right, then you're going to have a steeper slope. And so that's going to increase the potential drop. So that's going to increase your power times 4, but you're also doing a shorter time. So I don't know if that's what they intended to mean when they meant this question. Let me look up what they intended the meaning for this one to be. All right, they did want to do it the way we're assuming it. So we shorten the time. That's going to increase the voltage, right? But then, like, you're going to be short amount of time of energy. But because the voltage is squared and the energy, right, the energy being power times the amount of time. So, but this part's going to increase by like times 4. And this thing would like increase by times 1 or decrease by 1/2 if I have the amount of time. So the energy would increase, which makes sense. Okay, yes, because the EMF would increase by a square amount if T3 minus T1 was reduced, but the energy would reduce because power is equal to energy times the amount of time, but overall the energy would increase. Okay, so something like to that effect there. All right, so that's how we handle the induced EMF. Go through those steps in that process. If you found this video helpful, come check out our school community. It's got an amazing bunch of features. It's got extra videos, corrected videos, better than the ones that I have errors on YouTube. It's got multiple choice free response questions. I hold live Q&A sessions and go through more problems and and I answer students' questions, help with schoolwork, all kinds of things. If you want to check it out, look in the description below, or check out the website and find us in the school community. You get a 7-day free trial to give it a shot, just to check it out, see what it's like, come join some calls, and honestly, come learn AP Physics 1 even faster with us.